if you're leading and you don't know what it feels like on the other end, how are you going to be a better dancer, right?
Where I grew up in the Swiss Alps with literally more cows than human beings.
Oh,
Hi guys, I'm Christina.
and I'm Ray.
And we're going to talk about some myths that exist in the Latin dance scene. So I think the very first one is that Latin dances should be only for Latinos. That's very much something that I've heard in, let's say, negative or positive aspects. Like I've heard it as compliments of like, oh, you feel like a Latina. Or in negative stuff like, well, she's blonde, that's why she cannot dance bachata Dominican. I think it's not true. Like, honestly, every human as a natural instinct, as a baby, if we hear music, they're just like dancing a little bit and jiggling. And every human, no matter where they are in the world, is having dance as their form to express themselves. And especially for me, it was always my way to express myself. Since I was a child, dance has been my way to feel myself and just enjoy myself. How do you see that?
So I have a similar experience, honestly. I think that in New York, I have some friends that are like, "Ooh, gringuita," and it's super cute, right? But then there's also been these experiences where it's a really wonderful wake-up call of like, part of the reason I really wanted to get into the traditional bachata scene is for respect for the dance style, right? And it's like I was recognizing that in the way I was originally discovering sensual bachata is like I didn't have a clean basic. So, and I was inspired by this amazing footwork that was going on. I was like, how do I do that, right? So for me, it's a similar experience there. But I do think, especially in the U.S., we have a very diverse scene, and the U.S. in general is super diverse, right? But we have people of all different nationalities, not only dancing bachata, but also teaching it now. So that's really, really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about respecting the roots and where some dances come from. And yes, most dances do come from Africa or Latin America, but that doesn't mean you immediately have it in your blood or because you're talented more than others. No, dancing is about maybe you have like an idea, you like the music, and then if you want to get it professional or westernized or whatever, you have to work on that. So talent's not enough, take classes and learn, I think. Second myth is that women can only follow and men can only lead. The problem with that theory is that it leaves out the non-binary people, or it leaves out people of the queer community that don't feel related to either gender. So what I see happening a lot more in the past years, at least, is that we open the doors for everyone to dance. Dance should be for everyone. And I'm a femme, I'm a woman, I can lead. I almost lead as long as I follow, and I love it because it makes me be able to not only understand all of my students, but I can dance with everyone, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and I do think in the US, this is definitely growing in popularity. I know that in every country it's a little bit different, right? But in the US, depending on your community, we're having a lot of different groups speak out about this more and about inclusivity. And we have certain socials that are really based around inclusivity, and that's beautiful, right? Because not only is it your preference, right? It's your choice if you choose to lead or follow, right? And so we're being very careful in our classes, and I know that our mentors here are encouraging us to make sure that we're very specific about the language that we use to inspire inclusivity, right? To make sure that this is a safe space where everyone feels welcomed and everyone feels seen and included. But that's also about promoting to your class, like, this is how you make someone feel safe, right?
Yeah.
So using the word lead and the word follow is super important. And also just making sure that we talk about consent more openly, right? And we talk about how, like, as a dancer, as a growing dancer, you're actually going to improve if you learn the other role, right? If you're leading and you don't know what it feels like on the other end, how are you going to be a better dancer, right? So we both lead and we both follow. And some days I feel like leading, some days I feel like following. But it's a cool way to meet people in your community.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, and if you feel like, oh, maybe my teacher only says chico and chica, just politely ask me, like, hey, can we address it as leader and follower or líder y seguidor? just to have everyone included and everybody feel welcomed in your space. Third one, I think maybe it's a more older myth because it hasn't happened to me in many, many more years. But when I just started being a female lead, I would directly be asked, oh, Christina, but are you a lesbian? And that's why? Your chosen dance role has nothing to do with your sexuality. Please don't feel anyhow offended, or also it's private. So don't just go to people and be like, oh, but what's your gender? Oh, but what's your sexual orientation? Let people be what they want. And if they want to lead whatever gender they are, let them do that. If you are a man and you want to follow, it doesn't mean that you're gay, okay? So there's no relationship between your sexuality, your chosen dance role. And at the end of the day, it's none of your business, okay?
Yeah. And it's funny because in the US, I'm starting to see, at least in New York City, sometimes a presenting man, right, will end up being like, hey, do you want to dance? And I'll be like, sure. And I go like this, right? And then they're like this. And we both look down, we're like, oh. And then I'm like, okay, let's do this, right? And I'm also like, let's do this. And they're all the way up there. And I'm like, oh, right? And it's like,
Yeah.
But it's so awesome.
Yeah.
And what I'm finding is that by us like opening up this space, right? Like we see a lot of our students be these very open-minded individuals that are like, oh, wow, they're promoting this message. I'm more attracted to this space where I feel open. They'll tell me like, as a man, it's hard for me in a social to ask another man to dance because they might be like, what the f***? Right?
Yeah.
And, oops, I shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
And but they'd be like, ooh, I don't know if I feel comfortable with this, right? But by us creating that space and that energy, it's way cooler for them to like feel accepted and to feel like they can explore movement in that way.
Yeah. So no limits for the dance scene, no matter whatever.
Yeah.
Fourth myth, you have to have specific dance training since your childhood to become a professional dancer. Honestly, it's not true. It's obviously an advantage. The more dance styles you know, which is why VdanceClub, for example, is a great platform because you have so many different dance styles. The more dance styles you know and maybe are even proficient in, the better, because it's going to be easier to connect and it's going to give you more range of movement. However, it's not needed to have been dancing ballet, contemporary, modern dance, whatever, since childhood. It all comes down to like, once you've figured out which dance style you want to get proficient in, and then how hard do you work? How often do you take classes? How often are you in the studio? How do you train? And how often do you train?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me personally, I did not grow up dancing. I did a lot of different sports. So I was an athlete growing up and then a long distance runner. And then I got hurt and I discovered dance. And I was like, ooh, what is this? I'm in love, right? I started out as like a combination between a dinosaur and like a noodle, I think. That was like a nice little mixture. And all my old videos are like terrible. They're so embarrassing. But like, that's the thing is we all start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And then for some people, it's like social dancing is this beautiful way to express yourself. And it's this great way to go out. And then other people really want to invest and take classes. And that's why we're all here is we're investing in ourselves. We're taking online classes and we're improving every day, right? So you can work up to whatever level you dream possible. It's just going to take some time.
Of course. Like I haven't started dancing, especially not couple dancing, until I moved to another city, because where I grew up in the Swiss Alps with literally more cows than human beings, there's not many opportunities to dance, right? Even though I always danced because it was just in my family a little bit, but nobody did it professional.
Yeah.
I just danced a little bit ballet in the next hometown, half an hour drive away, or whatever I could do in the very limited possibilities I had growing up as a child. I did do gymnastics for 18 years, so that definitely helped for having body consciousness, body control, understanding how the body mechanics work. That helped a lot. But and didn't help me figuring out how to let myself be led by some other human being. And I was like, stay away from me, especially in Switzerland. We don't like to be close, right? So cultural difference in Switzerland, we dance closed position like this in a way that as far away as you can. And it just takes some time, like take classes to then find your comfort zone with dancing and to get there and get fluidity in there, going from straight military gymnast to fluid bachatera.
It's amazing.
Is work. So,
and it's so funny you say that, because for me too, something that really helped is if you're maybe brand new, right? Like we have different kinds of beginners, right? Some people don't have a background in anything musical. So for me growing up, I was in orchestra and band, and then I actually taught cycling classes or spinning classes. So for me, like understanding when drops are happening and being able to count that down and projecting and like understanding what that's like as my body is moving is a total plus when it comes to like understanding how the music works. Like how do I move my body while keeping the basic, but also adding all that yumminess on top, right? So it's all about just like taking your background, no matter what it is, and meshing that in a beautiful way with the dance, not forgetting about it, but combining it.
Yeah, you use your background, use your story, and then, yeah. I had a beautiful bottom line in my brain, and then it just left. Oh, well. Everyone can dance.
You dance.
Everyone can dance.
All of you.
I was like, the whole time I was like, I have that phrase.
You are nothing. You can be. You can do it.
Number 5, you have to have a certain body type to dance bachata. No, everyone can be dancing. It doesn't matter your height, if you're a bit more smaller size, if you're very tall, if you have a bit more curves, if you have a bit less curves, if you have fake nails or not, if you like wearing makeup or not. You don't have to wear the bachata belt just to become a bachata dancer. No, be yourself. It doesn't matter what your cultural background is, what your religion is, what your color is. Everyone can dance, and there's no limits to that. Not to your body, not to your background, not to your ethnicity, not to your age. You can never be too old to start dancing, because dancing is for everyone.
Yeah. I think that something to go along with the bachata belt, right, is like, have you ever seen a bachata belt? Because like we're not wearing them today, but you know, they're those like clear little jelly belts that like you're saying, oh, they're so cute, right?
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. You probably have one. If not, you're ordering one on Depop right now.
Comment if you know, if you have the bachata belt.
Yeah, let us know. We'll send in a group photo. But for real, like I think that fashion, when it comes to dancers, is so fun, right? Because it's the things that like you might not go out in, like you might not for sure go out with your family and the things that you're wearing. Like definitely I'm not showing like my whole stomach when I'm hanging out with my grandpa, but you know, like it's okay, right? You do?
I do.
Well, it depends on like, you know, where you live, what your culture's like, you know, whatever that looks like, right? So for me, at least, fashion and dressing is like a way of decorating my body, right? So it helps me project the type of dancer I want to be and project the type of person that I want to show up as, right? So in terms of your body type and everything, it's like, you can decorate your body how you choose. That doesn't mean that you have to wear little crop tops like we're wearing right now. I just think they're so cute. I love wearing a crop top. Okay. But some people feel sexy in baggy clothes, right? And that's awesome. Like there's different dance styles too, or movement wise, like baggy clothes look awesome, right? And also like you don't have to be going to the gym every day and like be super fit and be in the best physical condition.
You also don't have to have like, I don't know, lose weight. I've had that topic a lot with a lot of my female students, where they're like, yeah, but I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel slim enough. I don't feel skinny enough. And I'm like, well, look, when I started, I was buff. Like I was bodybuilder arms buff from gymnastics. And I felt like, oh no, my shoulders are too wide and I'm never gonna look as elegant as fill in the name of your favorite female artist. And I felt also like I'm too tall. Whereas in Spain, I'm very tall. And then I come to Germany and I'm one of the smaller ones. So it really doesn't matter. And what is beautiful is that we have more and more international artists that also represent these different body types. So just be yourself.
Be yourself, have fun, enjoy your body, and enjoy movement.
Yeah. Number 6, you don't have to learn Spanish. It helps.
It helps.
It helps to understand certain people, but it's not a requirement. It doesn't say just because you don't speak Spanish, you're not a good dancer.
Or you can't learn how to dance.
Exactly. It's communication needs all of us. So the more of us speaking different languages and also just like communicating more with our bodies, explaining things, it helps. But just because you don't understand Spanish doesn't mean you cannot learn. I started bachata not speaking or understanding any Spanish, and somehow I can still figure out a way. So no worries about the language barrier. You'll get there.
I feel like I'm going to learn songs before I learn how to have a conversation. So everyone feels the music in a different way, but that's what's so beautiful about this dance. And it's so accepting, and we're really just there to connect, right? So let's all take practice classes together, and you'll definitely have to help me out. I'm practicing my Spanish while I'm in Spain.
Yeah. By the way, if you're not yet a member of VdanceClub, I highly recommend. It's an online dance school with classes about salsa, bachata, kizomba, and souk. You have styling, you have partner work, and you can practice the pre-recorded classes from anywhere in the world. So there's a link in the description. Check it out and subscribe. Become part of the family.